To sit here and say that I'm not incredibly disappointed, and I had that inkling of hope that Jimmy Butler would still be wearing a Miami Heat jersey tomorrow after 3 p.m. My heart has been essentially broken as the Miami Heat bit the bullet and traded Jimmy Butler for a bag of Skittles. A bag of Skittles. That's what the Miami Heat just did. A bag of Skittles. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, powered by Coming Out of the Podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. We talk facts and feelings, aka Rudy the Hammer. I am mentally exhausted. I did a short video on Instagram earlier today saying Jimmy Butler will probably be here tomorrow because he wasn't going to sign an extension with Golden State. Well, looks like he changed his mind and he realized that playing with Steph Curry brings him a much better chance of winning than playing next to Bum Adebayo and Tyler Hero. And he's right, because he did everything he could to carry that dead weight to the NBA Finals twice and the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times. And the appreciation he got from the one and only Pat Riley, who has the ego of a god darn mountain, was to offer Bam Adebayo a max extension for his 16 points and 10 rebounds and him dating Asia Wilson and Tyler Hero, who simply improved his field goal percentage a bit, but at the same time is basically the same damn player he's been for the last 5 years. And that's what Pat Riley chose to do. He wants to ride with the guy that he was trying to trade for 3 years in Tyler Hero, the guy that was supposed to get dealt to help Jimmy Butler get help. But that never happened because Pat Riley failed every single summer in trying to lure another top shelf superstar level player to Miami, because Bam Adebayo is not a superstar level player. He is a role player, an overpaid role player at that. No disrespect, Bam. It is what it is. These are facts over feelings. Just because you're an all-star and have been or played on the Olympic team doesn't mean that you're a star level player. You're a good role player. 16 and 10 is not the number 2 option on a championship team. It's not even the number 3 option on a championship team. It might be the 4th or the 5th. But this is the route that Pat Riley has gone, overpaying guys who aren't that good. And the one guy who has done more for him than anybody since Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler, you chose to insult publicly, you chose to degrade publicly, and you chose to not pay. Same way you did Dwayne Wade. Tell you what, nothing changes with Pat Riley. He will always choose himself. And people might say, oh, well, you didn't go to Phoenix. Well, you know what? I think they're in a better situation in Golden State. It's a championship franchise. They've won 4 rings in 8 or 10 years. Whatever it is. Steph Curry is still a premier shooter, premier player, even at 36, older than Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler will have no problem deferring to someone like Steph Curry. And he'll also be a major weapon for the Warriors. Toughness, grit, grime, defense. He's the one guy that can probably check Draymond Green in his bull crap. I hope Jimmy Butler goes over to Golden State and wins right now. I hope he does. I really hope he does. Because Steph Curry will be the best player he's ever played with at any time in his career. Yeah, he played with Dwayne Wade. He played with Dwayne Wade, who had no knees left. That wasn't the Dwayne Wade that was a champion, an elite guard. Steph is still a top shelf guard. And you're going to have a guy who plays D, who can handle the ball, who can really play point guard and get Steph involved. He provides so many options for the Golden State Warriors that, for them, it's a great get. There's a reason they wanted to offer him a max extension, which is what they did. But the Miami Heat wouldn't do that. It's just ironic that there are teams that would do it, but the Miami Heat wouldn't. It just shows you about the if a team that's won 4 rings in a decade would do it, that should tell you something. Because we haven't won shit down here since LeBron and Wade. And yeah, we got to the finals twice with Jimmy Butler, but that's because Jimmy Butler put on a cape and carried us there. Carried this sack of dead weight. G League players. Never having a decent big down low. Having a bunch of mediocre role players that he somehow carries. He's dropping 56 and 42. He's still that dude, people. He still has that ability. He still has that winning mentality, that grit, that grime. And he's going to bring it now that he feels that he's in a fresh start. I wish that man the best. I genuinely do. I was hoping that it would somehow work itself out, that they would not get a trade done, and he would stick to his guns and say, I'm not going to sign an extension there. But he did, so I guess the deal was able to happen. And the Miami Heat get Andrew Wiggins. Think about that. Andrew Wiggins, another guy who's been dealt around like a sack of potatoes, used car. Starts it off in Minnesota, goes to Golden State. Well, initially traded by LeBron James from Cleveland to Minnesota before he played one single game in Cleveland. Traded to Golden State. This was the number 1 pick in the draft, man. Never averaged. I mean, his best year was literally freaking 6 years ago. He himself is about to be 30 years old in February. Still young, but never been a killer. Yeah, he won a ring with Steph, but he's never been a killer. He's never been that dog. He's a decent player. A decent player. Is he a great player? No. The Miami Heat right now is void of any star quality. The Miami Heat is void of that dude. You're relying now on Tyler Hero to be that dude. Mind you, the same Tyler Hero that you tried to trade for 3 straight years. That's the Miami Heat way, bro. They're big-time players. They screw over all the time. They did it to Dwayne Wade. They did it to LeBron. They did it to Shaq. Nothing new here. Par for the course. And 2 finals runs in 5 years, carrying the likes of Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Haywood Highsmith, Caleb Martin. I mean, shall we go on? Jimmy Butler still got it in him, people. He still has it in him. Before you say he's always hurt, please. 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 Jimmy Butler played more games coming into this year over the last 5 years than Tyler Hero had. But again, people will say what they want to say about Jimmy. They'll use the stuff that was in Chicago or in Minnesota or in Philly. He didn't want to leave Philly. They didn't choose him. They chose Tobias Harris over him. How'd that work out? They ain't been past the second round of the playoffs with Joel Embiid. Ain't that something? You think Bam Adebayo is better than Joel Embiid? If Jimmy Butler had been re-signed by Philadelphia 6 years ago, the Sixers would have won a championship by now. They would have won a championship in the last 5 years. Minnesota, I don't blame him. He didn't want to play with Karl-Anthony Towns, who was a big-ass baby back then. Maybe he's grown up now, but he wasn't that guy back then. You have a guy who wants to win, bro. Wants to win. But he also wants to be respected by the people that he works for. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand Jimmy Butler. I've said it before. And people will sit here and say, oh, well, you make $48 million. Well, guess what? The same people who will sit here and say they hate corporations and big corporations, well, when you side with the Miami Heat, you're siding with a big corporation. What do you think the Miami Heat is? A small office? It's a corporation. You sided with the big business over the freaking guy, over the individual man. Why? Because he makes $48 million. In your thought process of being normal, you say, oh, he should be happy. When you're rich, you don't understand rich people's problems. When you're not rich, you don't understand rich people's problems. You don't understand what makes rich people tick, what makes them go. And one major part of it is respect. And respect comes in the form of money. In a form of money. You think LeBron James would still be in LA if they said, we're not going to pay you 60, we'll pay you 40? Fuck no. He would have walked out in a second. He would have walked in a second. You think Steph Curry would be in Golden State right now if they said, no, we're going to pay you Tyler Hero money? No, he'd walk. And a guy like Jimmy Butler would have fight for everything he's ever earned and ever had in his life. Bruh, you don't get it. And you never will, because you're never going to have $50 million in a salary in one calendar year. And you forget the fact that these guys are supposed to live on this pretty much for the rest of their lives, because most of them don't get jobs after they retire when they're making $50 million a year. And yes, they live differently than you and I live. So you get all bent out of shape about stuff that you can't possibly understand. But if your boss told you to go fuck yourself and shut the fuck up publicly in front of your whole company, and you were a top performer, top earner, top all that shit, you'd walk the fuck out. You wouldn't tolerate that crap, because if you did, guess what? They got you by the balls. They emasculated your sorry ass, and you took it. And you know what? Jimmy has the leverage and power in paycheck. He doesn't need to work. He didn't need to work. So what did Miami do? Miami traded him for a first-round pick who was 12 years ago, who has never been better than Jimmy Butler. Not for a second. And Jimmy Butler was the 30th or 31st pick in his draft. Dennis Schroeder was in this draft. He went to Toronto or whatever. Miami got PJ Tucker, who left Miami how many years ago? And now is like 40. Will he even play, or is he going to retire? I have no idea. I enjoyed PJ Tucker down here, but he's 40 years old. He's old, bro. And a protected first-round pick. And Miami doesn't play first round. Miami doesn't play picks. It took them half a year to put Kel'el Ware in the lineup. The shit that Jimmy was asking for quite some time, to get a big that can actually play. Team still lacks a point guard. You got Tyler Hero playing point, and man can barely dribble the ball. But hey, you Miami Heat shills, you shills for Pat Riley and the corporation, and you'll be the same people that will sit here and say, I side with the working man. Get the fuck out of here. No, you don't. No, you don't, because you don't understand that still Jimmy Butler is a working man. He's an employee. He's not the boss. He ain't the boss. And you know what? But he has the ability to say, you know what? I don't need to play right now. I'll take the L, whatever. You know what? He just got himself $121 million plus the 52 he gets next year. He'll opt in. So he's going to make himself $173 million over the next 3 seasons. Who won now? Good luck to you, Jimmy Buckets. I'll be getting that Golden State Warriors Jimmy Butler jersey right now, because I rock with Jimmy Butler all day and day. This is Rudy's Rant. We talk facts over feelings. Leave your like, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts. If you don't hear a Heat fan, you don't agree with me, what's new? Miami Heat fans simp for Pat Riley forever, so what's new? They'll simp for that 78-year-old man all day long. He could bang their mama in front of them, and they would still simp for him. That's all I got. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate y'all. Come on now.